think we're good. I'll just make sure that we've got that. And I can do that. And we should be live. Woo, I'm live. Hey guys, I'm Phoenix here, and welcome back to a weekend Satisfactory stream. Yeah, we're gonna plunder some worlds. We're gonna build new stuff. We're gonna cause trouble. We're gonna build factories. Because why the hell not? And then I can complain a little bit about some of the games I've been playing or attempting to play yesterday. Dark Souls 3. Good God. How did that get put through QA? Right, okay, anyway. Before I start on my various rants about gaming, and one of them does include Satisfactory, actually, which should be a fun rant. Welcome to Satisfactory. This is a game that's currently on the Epic Store. It's coming to Steam, more on that later. And it's a game about plundering factories, and that does not look... Sorry, this... What is that? Looks like there's a piece of copper pipe up there. Like, going... It's probably just an oddity with the light. It's fine. I'll just ignore it. Yeah, so it's a game about building factories, and what you do is you start off with pretty much nothing but chisel and the remains of your drop pod, and hold on, I hate these Facebook messages that pop up. Hey, have a Facebook message. This person's commented on your... Anyway, no. Let's keep on track. Okay, so yeah, you basically start with very little and you build up a factory. That's pretty much it. There's no real end goal, and certainly, a game like this, you could win the game by building yourself a hub and then just sitting back and chilling. But, human nature means that you just kind of want to see what's around the corner constantly. And that's basically what this game is built off. So, if I just get into my tractor again and ignore the oddity on the cliff... So this is one of the little factories that I want to be looking at today. I need to go and get some more copper, which is why I was... but we'll see the little factory. So I unlocked the ability to refine oil. And in order to proceed further in the tech tree, as you can see, my current milestone up there, I need plastic, rubber, and motors and some coil. Coil is fine, motors is fine, that's all automated, but the plastic and rubber comes from this system, and it's a complete mess because, as it turns out, I kind of came over here without actually having the resources that I necessarily needed in order to actually get it all up and running. Basically, I forgot everything that I needed that was copper-wise. So... yeah, so I've kind of rigged up a few little bodge jobs here and there, but basically what happens is I have a refinery here that takes in crude oil. Sorry, I should start at the beginning, really. This thing here, over here, brings oil up from the crude oil deposit, sends it into a storage buffer, whereby it then goes into the refinery, it gets turned into plastic, and there's a residual heavy oil residue which is currently being turned into petroleum coke, which is then going to be fed into there. However, I need water in order to get that running. In order to get that running, I need copper pipes to link that up into there. Right, so that's what I'm going to be doing today, is getting this up and running properly. And hopefully continuing on down the research track in order so that I can get a train, because I really do need to connect this facility with the main facility via a train network, because there's all kinds of things wrong with trailing cable across the entirety of the map. So I don't really want to do that, so trains are what's required for that. Anyway, so if you haven't seen Satisfactory before, welcome. That's basically my overview of what goes on in it, and you'll see more of it as time goes on. I should note that this is the experimental build for update 3. That's not to say there's only been 3 updates in a year. There's been an awful lot of little updates throughout the year. But there's been 3 big ones, so I can't remember what the first one added. One of them added nuclear power. This one, update 3, added a whole bunch of just new stuff, including aluminium and liquids and pipes and all that sort of jazz. There's even like hypertubes that you can use to transport yourself around reasonably quickly, kind of like Futurama style transportation systems, where they just go into the big pipe. It's basically that. And yeah, no. Oh, and they've got the new starter area as well, which is basically this area, but they've redone it a bit. And critters also respawn now, so you can't necessarily just clear out an area unless you build on it, I think. So if you go off into the woods, you may see bears tonight. No, not bears. What those other things? Whatever they're called. Let's call them bears for now. It's easier. So the alien thingy majigs that you need to beat to death repeatedly, they do seem to respawn, and the ones that kind of spit fire at you, they also respawn. And I've got hopelessly lost. So I did say earlier that this is coming to Steam. By the way, this game's coming to Steam at some point. Don't know when. Update 3, which is this one, is probably going to be the most logical thing for them to do, which is to say those fireflies have respawned, and so I've got to dispose of them again. So there's another one around here. So they will be releasing the game on a Tuesday. They haven't said which Tuesday, just a Tuesday, which may be a reference to Chinese democracy. It was an okay album for the amount of time that it took for Guns N' Roses to finally release Chinese Democracy. It was just not all that, really, and there was so much just weird stuff around it. But The Offspring got into a bit of a spat with Guns N' Roses because they basically said, yeah, we're just going to call one of our albums Chinese Democracy, and Axl Rose didn't like that very much. But and in the end, they called it, I think it was Splinter. I think it was the Splinter album was going to be Chinese Democracy. Because Axl Rose was taking so long about it that it was just a case of, yeah, you just basically at this point sitting on an album name that anybody can use. You know, for God's sake, if you're going to release this album, hurry up. But yeah, one of their things was, we will release it on a Thursday. We won't tell you which Thursday. It will be a surprise. And actually, I don't know when they released it in the end. But anyway, I just thought it was a sort of quite a funny throwback with Jace saying from Satisfactory, yeah, we'll release it on a Tuesday. We won't tell you which Tuesday because we don't know yet, but it'll be a Tuesday. So it will be coming to Steam at some point in the near future. I suspect probably very near future. I think they want to get update 3 to be as solid as possible, and then presumably, because it would make sense to release update 3 on Steam, because update 3 does a huge amount of rebalancing, and it's probably about as close to the game as we're going to see. I think I said last week that all the sort of the individual mechanics of the game does appear to be in and working. You know, you've got your pipes, you've got your hypertubes and your conveyor belts and whatever, and all the various machines, and all this stuff can now be built upon, but it shouldn't require any sort of sweeping changes. So you could probably say, okay, you know, this is the time to release the game on Steam. And it's been a long time coming, and you know, I'm not one of those people who, well, obviously I'm not the sort of person who would say, well, I don't like Epic Games Store. I don't actually like Epic Games Store, but for different reasons. The thing is that I probably understand why it is how it is a little bit, just because of my that maybe things aren't necessarily as easy to implement as we think, and so an awful lot of my issues with Epic Games Store are more of a result of the features that are currently within the store rather than anything else. I'm not too bothered about exclusivity deals, mainly because everybody does them still. There's still all this console exclusivity stuff, which is awful, but it still goes on. And so, you know, when you do have people saying, well, I don't like Epic Games Store exclusivity, but I'm going to buy Spider-Man on PS4. Well, yeah. Ultimately, it is what it is. And there is a certain amount of hypocrisy, I think, certainly at the moment, because obviously the Steam forums have gone live again for Satisfactory. There's so much salt on there. So much. And some of the arguments I understand. You know, there is certainly an aspect of there are a lot of people who didn't want an additional store in their computer. Fine. But fine. Wait for it to be released on Steam, and suddenly you then have these people saying, "Well, now it's being released on Steam. I'm going to buy it off a grey market site." What? Really? That I don't understand. That is the bit that I don't understand, because it's the sheer hypocrisy of saying I will not support Satisfactory on Epic Games Store because Epic Games Store uses anti-consumer practices. So I'm going to buy it when it comes out on Steam on a grey market website, where that is about as anti-consumer as you can get. You know, all these places that sell grey market keys, which on the whole are probably nicked. And they're probably bought with stolen credit cards, or they're bought in cheaper areas, which is why, you know, we will see region locking. I expect maybe not for Satisfactory, but you know, we do see region locking because of regional pricing. And you know, that's fine to do regional pricing. I'm not against regional pricing at all. I think it's, you know, it's a good thing, but when it comes to actually dealing with you know, these keys, and you know, what rights do people have with them, and that sort of thing. That's sort of where it gets a little bit murky. Anyway, so that's, yeah, so if you are interested in sheer amounts of salt at the moment, head on down to the Satisfactory Steam forums, where you have an awful lot of very, very weird and bizarre arguments that are dancing around the general issue, which is basically, I think, all boils down to, I wanted the game to be released on Steam last year and it wasn't, and so I'm annoyed now at the developers because I didn't get what I wanted. I mean, they could have just bought it off Epic Games Store like I did. A store which, you know, I've got my issues with, sure, but I still use it because you go where the games are. You always have. Anyway, with that all said and done, I need to get this one down. This will all make sense in the end. I need to get this powered up. Let's get these into here, and then hopefully this will start up. Maybe not. Maybe we need another one. Oh, how's that gonna? That link is gonna be a mess. All of this is gonna be a mess anyway, so never mind. We'll work around it. Well, I say we'll work around it. It'll just look a bit of a mess. Oh, for goodness sake! I can't get over the. Wait, am I wearing? Yeah, I am wearing my Blade Runners. Normally it says down the bottom when I'm wearing my Blade Runners. I don't just take them out. Yeah, now I am. And the game sometimes, well, you know, it's early access, and not only is it early access, it's also the experimental version. So things will break. Yeah, like that. I need to move it even. I need to move it this side, basically. As close to this pipe as possible, so I can do that. And then because I want to get all this running, okay, and then I can start to make it look a little bit better when. That's going to be interesting. Okay, I think I might be able to do something like that, and then go up like that. This is going to look horrible, I know. I'm sorry to anybody who's got OCD. But this is very much it's one of those factories where everything sort of gets, well, it's not encroaching others' clearance. Oh, because it's going through that. If I do, so it goes up there like that. There we go. That should at least allow the system to start, right? So if I turn that one on, yes, yeah. Okay, we're good for the moment. Now I need 200 plastic, 200 rubber, and that will get me industrial manufacturing. I think that gets me the computers. This is all basically on the step to along the lines of what I want to do is get rid of the coal generators because I've got way too many. And then swing that over to God, what's the thing called? Oil. And ultimately you go from biomass to coal to oil, and then at that point you have geothermal, and you also have the other one, nuclear, which will be entertaining. Because okay, so I don't know about oil generators yet, but everything so nuclear and coal, both of them need water, which it limits you in an odd way. It's actually quite surprising how much it affects the game having the need for a water supply. Because water isn't everywhere. Certainly water that's deep enough to accommodate one of these pumps, it's not everywhere. There are some actually quite good locations. There's a location just up the way, somewhere up there anyway, where there's a load of coal and there's water right next to it, like a vast lake. So that would have been perfect for me if I'd known about it, to put my coal there. But by the time that I'd found it, basically I was already pretty much setting up oil anyway, so I'm thinking at this point there's probably not much point in moving it over unless I have to. No, my Satisfactory's locked down. I don't do online. In fact, my thing is offline, isn't it? Yes, it is. So yeah, no, I want to get that up. I will just go and grab some more copper and possibly actually start getting that area up and running, so I'm going to need it. So off I go in my little tractor. So while I am poodling along through the undergrowth over here, I played some Dark Souls 3 last night. Good God, that game is dreadful. I've got no problem with games being hard. That's not a thing I've got a problem with. What I do have a problem with is when games get released apparently on PC without actually having proper control schemes for them. So, you know, I'm playing Dark Souls in the tutorial and it's telling me to attack, press left trigger. Okay, so where is left trigger on the keyboard anyway? You know, and to use item, press the X button. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work somehow. It's so many problems with that game, and they don't tell you about things that are actually really important. They can't just print things on the ground and hope that you read it. Everything. I got so annoyed I had to go over to the Surge, because the Surge is a fantastic game. I've always enjoyed the Surge, and it's got it's had a lot of bad stick previously. For being, you know, like a Dark Souls clone, you know, not as good as Dark Souls. Actually, I would say it's better. It streamlines an awful lot of the systems that just aren't needed. Okay, if you have to have your strength and agility and, you know, your special stats basically in a hack and slash game like that, fine. At least put tooltips on them to actually mention vaguely what all the various things do. It's irritating. It's irritating to see a game that's that praised just be adequate at best. And you know, they didn't put any effort into that into that port. I'm sure it's a very good game, but I can't get beyond the idea that you can, in this day and age, release something for the PC without actually have, you know, considering control schemes for it. So, as I said, I went over and played the Surge 1, the first one, which is a fantastic game. And got up to the first boss and then got thoroughly trounced. I know exactly how to fight him, but it takes you a couple of goes, or it takes me a couple of goes to kind of get the to get into the hang of backing off when I need to, and it's something that I certainly suffer from a lot in those sorts of games. Is I guess not knowing when to stop. Oh, it's one of those things that terrified me. This large thing, I don't even know what they are. They've kind of got heads of sparrows. They're very weird. Right, let's just get this. I've got loads of those ones. Copper. This one probably won't be set up properly until I've got trains. There's something more for me to do just while I'm waiting for the oil refinery to do what it needs to do. Okay, which I will actually go down and check on it now, and hopefully get the rubber set up, and then I can go back to the main base, get that researched, and then I should be able to get better stuff. Let's go into that. So yeah, no. Other than that, been playing some Minecraft. Got back into that again. Quite a fun little mod pack, which at one point gave me radiation poisoning. So good. That is a thing. Otherwise, yeah, it's just been a case of Satisfactory. Well, not a huge amount of Satisfactory, more Minecraft these days. But I like to sort of play different games. You know, I'll have a sort of a rotation, and I'll stop playing Satisfactory every so often and go and play something else. Like I think we all do. I played a load of Stardew Valley, I think, a couple of weeks ago when I was waiting for Update 3 to be released. Which, that's a nice little game. Very, it sort of drags you in and just basically says, oh, just 5 more minutes. You can play for another 5 minutes, right? It's like, yeah, I can do that. And the clock slowly sort of ticks by, and soon enough you realise you've played far more than you expected to. And, don't know what else I can really say about this game. Really, it's a fantastic little thing. I say little, it's huge. It's a 4 kilometre by 4 kilometre world. In fact, for those people that are planning on buying this on Steam, maybe you've watched some videos previously. We'll just kind of go through it a little bit, I guess. So this is a handcrafted 4 kilometre squared world. Principally designed and built by one person at the Satisfactory team, and other people have apparently been helping out where possible. Just ignore someone's burnt the toast. Didn't go on for long as my ones usually go for. I've got 2 in this flat. I've got 2 smoke alarms in this flat. So when one goes off, the other one goes off because they're in such close proximity to one another. Because of, I would assume, some ridiculous rule that basically says that you have to have one in the kitchen and one in the bedroom or living room or whatever. As a result, because this flat is quite small, I've got 2 that are pretty much next to one another. And so when one goes off, the other one goes off, and it's an absolute din, and they take forever to shut up. It just means that you're more careful when you get stuff out the oven, to make sure that it's not too smoky. Fun times. Right, okay, I need to switch this over to rubber now. Ooh. And yes, that's now making rubber. I probably should see if I can get this built on some kind of logical. Yeah, I've got some fun things as well now. I've got the pillar bases and foundations and foundation frames, foundation glass, so you can see through stuff. The other one, the other pump station that I built, and at some point I'll probably we'll probably wander past some of these areas, but certainly this one will get a sort of a proper pumping station set up, if nothing else but to burn off some of the residual stuff that comes out of here, the petroleum coke. And I think there's also a recipe for fuel oil as well. Just have a quick look. Residual plastic, which comes from water and polymer resin, which is made from other things. I don't know. I don't fully have all those recipes yet. But petroleum coke is quite a good way, it seems, of just powering an early form of this. But certainly I want to wash through this section, get rid of this bit, probably get rid of the biofuel one as well, and set it up so that I've just got these 2 coal plants being fed by water, or more, possibly, potentially more coal plants. Possibly actually just removing coal plants altogether, actually, thinking about it. But anyway, yeah, and this may end up just being a beach full of water power stuff and generators. So it's a pretty good beach, actually. So that could be very good for this being my power area, and then distributing it out. So I'll do some of that construction in a second, actually. So what do we need to do? Okay, so the way that this will all work is that this is a structure that can't be moved. It goes onto a node. I can't really do anything about it. I can't put it onto concrete or anything, so I have to basically build around it, which is fine. There's some quite nice things you can do while building around these structures. So what I will want to do is move my buffer over. I don't really want to lose any oil. I say lose any oil. There's nothing really stopping you from just canning it, and these oil deposits, all of these resource nodes are infinite. So there's no sort of running out of resources per se. It's just more in order for me to keep my refineries running whilst I'm upgrading the various systems to make it look nicer. It's going to be a little tricky if I'm not storing it somewhere else, basically. So I'm gonna manually craft some things. That'll do. So my fluid buffer is my new fluid buffer is going to go in about here, and I need to go into this one where I've got loads of pipe. So this pipeline is now going to be moved to over here for now. However, I still want it to be extracting from here for the moment, because I want to basically it will be a foundation about here, extending out, foundations then surrounding this, and then I will put in fences around. It looks quite nice. I've done a similar system up in the main facility, which I think was on camera last week, actually, where I've got these fences around where I'm digging up iron ore. So yeah, that's basically what I want. Oh wait, yeah, so 100 more and then I can actually move out. But yeah, the other thing that I could actually do is some rejigging of things. So let's actually move, okay, let's move this industrial fluid buffer nice and close. I want it reasonably out of the way for the things that I want to do. Right. And then just do that and just make sure that's on standby. And basically just empty this one into here, and then that will be plenty of crude oil to be going on with just while I retweak this a little. So it's just a very good looking game. It's all these just little things that they didn't really need to do. They could have just had a pipe that goes just through there, but they've added this nice little thing that actually does show, hey, look, you've got oil in here, and you can click on it and you get some information about what's going on in it, and I can add pumps to it to make it go faster. The fluid does take gravity into effect, so if you send the fluid upwards, you're going to need to use pumps in order to force it upwards at any sort of reasonable speed to kind of keep up the pressure, which I think is a fantastic idea. So it's absolutely full of oil. I think what I would also do, there's another industrial fluid buffer, a larger one, which I don't know. I don't think I unlock it yet. I think it's a different one. There's a larger one which I would probably build into here. So yeah, it does. The thing is that I think this is one of the wonderful things about Satisfactory, is that when you start building in an area, it's a complete bodge job, because you just want to quickly get a system set up that you can use to get a thing. But as time goes on, you actually realise that you can go back to these areas and rejigger them a bit, and they look so much nicer once you've gone through them and turned them into this sort of collection of miscellaneous machines, into, you know, a factory basically. I'm going to put a pump on here. I can't remember which one the pump is under. Pipeline pump, here we go. So it's going that way. Just wire into a power thing. There we go. That will just speed up transfer. And then I can very, very quickly get in there and build up the first of surround, move these out and up. And almost there. I'm going to need the pump anyway for something else, so it's kind of going to go up a bit and then sort of into the factory, and then the factory will be up on a sort of there's some rather interesting ways you can sort of bend pipes around and through walls that just look good, and then use clear foundations, the glass foundations that do look really good to put your things on. And there's some things you can do with pillars. Again, you know, it's just little touches to make your factories look as good as you can possibly get them, because there's something about just sort of looking out over your empire, essentially. Right, let's do this thing. I'm going to be reasonably quick, because that won't last forever. Oh god. Yeah, that'll do. And then I can just build my... I was going to say, if I could build my wall up. But I am missing... I'm missing plates, and I don't have enough stuff to get more. So what I'm going to do in that case is just get the industrial fluid buffer onto here, which is about in the rough. But that does allow me to start work on some of these other sections which are just sloppy. Right. Okay, so why can't I build on that one? Because that's going on to the bounding box there. So that can be the case on this side as well. I can get in on this side. Okay, this needs to be a little bit further over. Huh, right. How's my rubber doing? Because if the rubber's done, then I need to go back to the main base anyway, to go and get some bits and pieces. So yeah, the rubber is done. Okay, well this system, if it stops working, it doesn't matter too much, because I need to come back here with better equipment anyway in order to sort of get it all set up really nicely. However, as I think we might be going that way anyway, we can go via the actually, are we? I can't remember. We'll see. If we end up going past the new water pump, you can kind of see the cool pipes and the like, which is kind of what I want to go for, maybe with a little bit more pizzazz to it. But we'll see. It's a good looking game. It's not only just a good looking game, but it's running really well on the computer. There's a few frame stutters, which is understandable. The computer is about probably getting on for about 5 years now, 5 years old, something like that. So it's not too surprising when I get a little bit sort of sluggish frame rates in places. The games can do an awful lot of work to try and make sure that they look as good as possible, but they also are well optimized. And this is definitely one of those games which is sort of well optimized to the point where my computer can, happily run the game with a few little chugs here and there, but it's fine. And yeah, no, it's a good little Factorio type of thing. I cannot remember which way I go from here. I think it's up. We'll try up. Just have to head towards the truck station, really. Oh no, yeah, we're just here. It's actually a little bit of a tricky one because I've not built it particularly very well. But yeah, so this is the bridge. So if you are going, I think it's a slightly longer route to go down that one down there. I'm just running over a beastie. But this sort of road, this sort of highway, I guess, which I think is sort of another sort of aspect of its brilliance, the design, is that you do have these roads, these clearings where you can drive your thing around, and then you can always find things. But you do still have a certain aspect of going off the beaten track to find more useful things. So down here, we can go down here. Yeah, yep. So down there is my water pump, which we'll go down. This is the one that I was experimenting with a bit before realising that actually I just need to go for oil at this point, so that I can stop using coal. And but it will probably make for quite a nice little power station, intermediary power station. So that's what I'm talking about up here. So down there is the pump, and it sort of goes up here, and it sort of winds through the walls up here, and then kind of comes into here. I suspect the system's shut down because it doesn't have any coal. No, it's got no coal. But yeah, so that was sort of what I was going for for a pumping station. In its very sort of basic setup, it does look quite good. So I'll probably go for something quite similar with the new one, with the new power station. But okay, as we roll on up. Oh god, it's a little bit tricksy. But you know, it's interesting actually. You know, the world of gaming is there's a bit of a drought on at the moment until for some when Animal Crossing gets released in next month, and for others when Doom Eternal gets released on the same day. Yeah, it's nice to, I guess, to have some of these distractions, especially when you turn on the news and it's Brexit or coronavirus. No, it's not too much Brexit, I should say at the moment, because nothing's happening at all, and we've got is it 10 months? I think it's less than 10 months. It's about 6 months before we have to have a deal in place, so that in the last couple of months they can actually sort of execute it. But we've just annoyed everyone. America don't want to trade with us anymore. I don't know why. But yeah, and now apparently New Zealand, and there was another one as well. They don't want to trade with us either anymore. So it's all going horribly wrong for Boris Johnson at the moment. Something that, frankly, I'm not too surprised about. Why? I've been away from that for so long. Why is that oh, I haven't quite automated this one. Thinking about it. Yeah, this one's not quite automated as it probably should do. So it doesn't have any access to copper wire, which... Why haven't I done that? Because there's a copper area just down there. Yep, it's out of copper wire. And I think there's some copper just down here somewhere, down there somewhere. So I'll have to get that sorted out. Fine. Right, let's go. Yeah, and then so then you have all the coronavirus panic, which is ridiculous. I understand it, because end of the day, panic sells newspapers. But yeah, it's not that there's nothing to worry about, but simple precautions can be taken into account. So you don't have to be as panicky as people are being, and it's pointless ultimately. You know, swine flu, bird flu, even just standard types of flu. Standard types of flu on average kill 56,000 people a year. So just to kind of put it into some perspective, in other perspective, over the past 2 weeks, more people in the UK have been killed by the storms than have been killed by coronavirus. So, but, you know, people are basically told, panic. You know, it's so much in the media, so much in the news, that they can't escape the message, which is everyone is going to die. And the problem is, they're not. This hits us time and time again, and there's no, you know, you kind of go, you know, if you do any sort of social media, you see the you know, the memes of, yeah, this happens every time it's like a 20 in the year. This happens. It's like, no, it happened last year and the year before and the year before that. There's always something. There's always something in this world that's about to kill us all, and it never does. You know, take precautions, wash your hands, use tissues, and you'll be fine. But thankfully, I think people are starting to cotton on to the idea that it'll blow over. You know, it'll stop spreading because people are being more cautious, and it'll burn out. And as soon as people who are actually ill stop going to work and stop spreading it on to other people, then it will just burn itself out. That's all we can do at the moment, is just take necessary steps to make sure that it can't spread, and then it'll just burn itself out, and that'll be the end of it. All in all, the only people who are actually going to be seriously affected by it are the same people who seriously affected it year on year, which is old, young, or people with prior health conditions. It's not something to panic about. But in happier news, we have games to entertain ourselves with, because no one else is going to do it for us. And I'm so annoyed that I didn't get this bit automated, because of all the time that I was spent thinking, oh no, that's fine, it's all automated. It wasn't, and this bit wasn't. And I need status. Right. Right, hang on, that's okay. Now somewhere in, oh damn it, no, oh, you can do that, can you? If you've, that's useful. Yeah, so somewhere around here, yeah, so these are some of my experiments with using the new building components. So this is one that I will probably be using a fair amount of, actually, where we have our big support, which looks big and bolty and, you know, huge, and then I've got a thick piece of the full sized foundation. Which one is it? That one, running along there. And then I use smaller foundations to kind of bridge the two, so we kind of got these big girders going across, which I actually really like the look of. Plus it keeps with consistency for when you're building things, that you're using the right pieces, because otherwise things don't necessarily all match up and it can look a little bit ugly. But what I was actually doing before giving a lecture on architecture was getting some portable miners, or at least 8. I'll grab 2. I'll grab 2 portable miners, and I need iron, basically. I need these. I need these. So yeah, no. So the basic idea at this point is just to, I mean, I could just do the the level 2 one actually. The level 2 one might be easier to build. Except it needs a load of rods. I mean, where on earth am I going to get stupid levels of rods from? Or even just stupid levels of modular frames. I'm not thinking accurately, and it's a Sunday, and I've not done anything all weekend. Ugh. I just had one of those weeks where you just decide, you know what, I'm just going to chill this weekend. And then, yeah, so my body was constantly telling me, for God's sake, just stop. Just don't do anything. And then I keep trying to do things and just be complaining at me. What? Wait, what? Oh, yeah. For goodness sake, I've just restarted that. Right. I should have enough modular frames now. I can't quite make the next one here. I think that's what the industrial manufacturing is for. I can't remember, but I think that's the one that I'm doing. Then I can get the computers, and then I can get the big, the big new manufactory. I think it is. Basically, the next one over from there, and then I can build some even more complicated projects. This I need to completely decimate and revamp to a slightly better standard. Now down here, just feeling it's down here, question mark? Yeah, it's here. This is copper. I will just be reasonably armed going down here. I can't remember if there's any beasties. There's probably some beasties. I'll find out soon when one hits me in the back of the knees. Right. So this needs to go into a smelter, which for God's sake, I don't have the posts. Because I probably should have picked up the posts. Oh, for goodness sake. It's fine. So I need two... so I need a smelter, and then I need 2 constructors. Should be okay for the constructors. I just need stuff for the smelter. 2 constructors. And this will be another quick, hey, this is a quick and dirty factory that I've put in for a very, very specific role. And it's not going to look particularly pleasant. Okay, so that's all of that's done. Then I put in my belts. Like so. Right, so this one is doing copper, this one is doing... Wait, I don't need that one. I'm going to run out of... okay, I need another plate. Another plate or 2. And... it's not that one, it's this one. Almost done. We've almost automated this bit, and then I will probably end the stream. Oh, it's too long. There we go. That one, and then can I wire? Where can I wire this one in? I need to rewire all my grid as well, but oh, for God's sake, there's one there. Okay. And this needs redecorating, but for the moment, it'll be fine. I can probably actually upgrade these belts. I should have the resources to do that. I don't know where they would be, but I've probably got them knocking around. And hopefully next time you see this place, it's going to be a little bit more organised. You don't have the... I could probably actually stop making these. Or at the very least... I don't know if I'll have the resources to do it. I can put a splitter in, but I can't put in the storage. So I just don't have the parts. Oh, it can be. It'll be fine for the moment. I'm not that far from getting better belts anyway. So yeah, they'll be okay. Let's just do some belt surfing. So I've got 30 motors on me, so I need 20 more motors, and then I'll be able to do industrial manufacturing. But I think I am going to end this video here for now. Tomorrow we will be back for more Hearts of Iron. I am currently planning on munching my way through Italy. So that will be entertaining.